Hello, 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 all you YouTubers out there, fans and subscribers. Blitzball Champ is back with a brand new video. Tonight, I wanted to talk about the NXT Year End Awards for 2016. So that's up and running. And I just wanted to go through each of the categories and also tell you what my votes were, which I've already voted on Twitter. So just wanted to go into detail of each of the categories and who I voted for. So let's get started. First, we have NXT Takeover of the Year. And the nominees were Takeover Dallas, um, Takeover Beginning of the End, or the End of the Beginning. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. The End of the Beginning. Takeover Brooklyn, number 2, and Takeover Toronto. To be honest, this was an easy pick for me. This was a very easy pick for me. While Takeover the End of the Beginning had a strong second place in my heart, I had to go with NXT Takeover Dallas, mainly because I thought the matches in this particular card were great, and there was just certain outcomes that I really just enjoyed the most. Like for example, NXT Takeover Dallas was when Asuka defeated Bayley to win the NXT Women's Championship. Um, so I was really happy to see that. I'm a big Asuka fan, so seeing her win the NXT Women's Championship was definitely like on the top of my list for that. But also the match between Sami Zayn and the debuting Shinsuke Nakamura. That was such an excellent match. I wish it could have gone on for a little bit longer, but that was such an excellent match. Those two put on quite a show, and that was a great way for Shinsuke Nakamura to debut at NXT Takeover Dallas. So definitely that contributed to my vote. And also American Alpha winning the NXT Tag Team titles from the Revival. Overall, it was a great match, and just really, I really became, a big supporter of American Alpha. Really through that time after Jason Jordan and Chad Gable formed. So it was really good to see them have a nice little NXT Tag Team Championship title run. I wish it could have been a little longer, but yeah, I thought it was really awesome show overall, and just like with all the title changes, of course, Finn Balor against Samoa Joe was the big main event, which was really awesome. I really enjoyed their rivalry, and Finn Balor always great in the ring, and really just I was just really happy overall at a lot of the time links for these matches. The Shinsuke Nakamura Sami Zayn match was like over 20 minutes long. I felt that it could have been a little bit longer, but still, I mean, it's 20 minutes. So I thought that was awesome. And the Asuka Bayley match, that was a little over 15 minutes. So I thought really the times were great. The Austin Aries Baron Corbin match could have been much longer, but that was probably the only weak point, which I felt was minor for that show. But overall, I thought this was the best takeover of 2016. So I voted for NXT Takeover Dallas as NXT Takeover of the Year. Next, we have NXT Tag Team of the Year. And the nominees were American Alpha, TM61, Authors of Pain, The Revival, and DIY. Now, what's interesting about this is only 3 of those teams have been NXT Tag Team Champions. Of course, with DIY being the current Tag Team Champions, you have The Revival that were former Tag Team Champions that DIY defeated to win those tag team titles. and also American Alpha, who defeated the Revival to win those tag team titles. So this was kind of tough at first overall, but when it comes down to it, I thought I'm starting to grow a little more on the Authors of Pain, like ever since um, about middle of the way after they debuted until up to the time where they won the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. So they're starting to wear on me a little more. I love their entrance theme, by the way. Um, TM61, starting to grow on me a little bit, but um, the Revival, never really been that big of a fan of the Revival. And of course, really for me, this came down between American Alpha and DIY. I just felt like, because I've always been a huge fan of Johnny Gargano ever since getting the chance to meet him um, back in Dragon Gate and also in Chikara. He's just been a big favorite of mine, and I've really done my best to keep up with him. And Tommaso Ciampa, I got a good taste of him back when he was in ROH. He was a former ROH World Television Champion. So honestly, I just feel like with this pairing, with this tag team, and just the kind of intensity that they brought, especially with the rivalry that they've been having with the Revival. I just really, I just really love this team DIY. Just what they've done, not only as a team but also as singles as well. They were also in the Cruiserweight Classic, so I thought that was really really cool. But um, American Alpha is a good second place pick for me in this category, but I had to give my vote to DIY overall. So DIY was my pick for tag team of the year. Alrighty. Next, we have NXT Breakout of the year. The nominees are No Way Jose, Ember Moon, Andrade Cien Almas, Peyton Royce and Billy Kay, and Sanity, which was made up of Eric Young, Sawyer Fulton, and Alexander Wolf. And I guess you can also throw in Nikki Cross as well. But um so this was a little bit easier for me to pick. Um Honestly, I'm not digging the whole No Way Jose. Just really not digging him. Um, Peyton and Royce, or excuse me, Peyton Royce and Billy Kay, don't really like him. I think they suck, to be honest with you. I mean, they're okay heels, but their in-ring ability and everything, they suck, if you ask me. Um, Sanity, I mean, I like the stable, but that's pretty much it. For me, it came down between Ember Moon and Andrade Cien Almas. Um, I think overall because of the gimmick and just style and finisher, it's close. It's close for me, but I actually ended up going with Ember Moon only because I like her persona, I like her character, and don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of Andrade Cien Almas as well. Honestly, I think he's better as a face than a heel, but some people may beg to differ. But I don't know. I just feel like Ember Moon has been a big spark for the NXT Women's division. So yeah, I definitely have to give this one to Ember Moon. And hey, she's still undefeated, and hopefully she will be the next in line to get an NXT Women's title shot. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, my NXT Breakout of the Year vote goes to Ember Moon. Next, we have NXT Female of the Year. And the nominees, only three of them. Bailey, Nia Jax, and Asuka. Now, don't get me wrong, this was easy for me. But I think it's really going to come down between Bailey and Asuka. I mean, don't get me wrong, Nia Jax, I felt like with her, I felt like they moved her to the main roster rather quickly. So I don't know if that's a good thing, but I don't know. Like, I felt like she could have had a little more rivalry with Bailey or Asuka or both during that time. But I mean, it is what it is. But I really feel like, when it comes to the crowd and just overall production, it's really got to come down between Bailey and Asuka. Now, I'm gonna tell you right now, my vote is for Asuka. I'm a big Asuka fan. I like the style, and I'm pretty big on Japanese wrestlers. So my vote is for Asuka, but it would not surprise me if Bailey won because she's over with the fans, great wrestler, a lot of charisma, it's over with the crowd. So to be honest, it's going to come down between Asuka and Bailey. Like, I want Asuka to win it, but it would not surprise me if Bailey won. So, but my vote is for Asuka for NXT female of the year. All right, next we have NXT male of the year. And the nominees were Samoa Joe, Finn Balor, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Bobby Roode. Now, I can tell you right now, I don't think Bobby Roode's going to get it. I mean, yeah, he's made quite an impact since joining the NXT roster, but I just don't feel like it's enough to really put him in the category of male of the year. I just honestly don't feel like it's been enough to put him in that category. Really, I think it's going to come down between Finn Balor, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Samoa Joe. This was really difficult for me. This was very difficult for me. But to be honest, as much as I love all three of them, because of how big of an icon he's become in NXT and how well he has carried in many different shows and many of the NXT takeovers and just the kind of impact that he's made. My vote went to Finn Balor. So it wouldn't surprise me if Shinsuke Nakamura or maybe even Samoa Joe won, but I got to give my vote to Finn Balor on this, only because of the longevity, even before before 2016, just carrying on through 2016. I felt like the longevity and really a lot of the impact that he's carried through NXT and through his time even before he was champion, all through when he was NXT champion, even up to losing the title to Samoa Joe. But yeah, I just think overall, I think Finn Balor gets this one. But it wouldn't surprise me if Shinsuke Nakamura or Samoa Joe won. But my vote for NXT Male of the Year goes to Finn Balor. Okay. NXT Competitor of the Year. This is another big one. The nominees were Bailey, Nia Jax, Asuka, Finn Balor, Shinsuke Nakamura, Samoa Joe, and Bobby Roode. I can tell you right now, I don't believe Bobby Roode and Nia Jax should be on this list, just to be honest with you. I just, like I said, I don't think Bobby Roode is Competitor of the Year material yet, because he's made quite an impact, but I just don't think he's been with NXT long enough to really be put in that category. Nia Jax, I mean, maybe a little bit more, a little bit longer, but I just feel like there's so much other talent that's more over with the crowd and just like more popular than Nia Jax, unfortunately. But it's good to see her, take off and transition into the main roster. Um, Samoa Joe is a good argument. Finn Balor is a great argument. Bailey, Asuka, and Shinsuke Nakamura. Um, Me personally, only because I'm such a huge fan of her, and just she's just been in my heart ever since her debut. Um, I voted for Asuka, so yeah, I voted for Asuka. So do I think she'll win Competitor of the Year? No, but if she does, that'd be excellent. But my pick for NXT Competitor of the Year is Asuka, but there are so many others that are worthy of that. Samoa Joe, Bailey, Finn Balor, and Shinsuke Nakamura. I feel like those would also be worthy of this award. And then the final one is NXT Match of the Year. And the nominees for this one are you have Finn Balor versus Shinsuke Nakamura, which was on NXT TV, July 13th of 2016. You have Asuka versus Mickie James for the NXT Women's title. That was at NXT Takeover Toronto. You have American Alpha versus the Revival, which was at the NXT Takeover The End show, which that was for the tag team titles. You got Sami Zayn versus Shinsuke Nakamura, which was at NXT Takeover Dallas. You have Bailey versus Asuka, which was at NXT Takeover Dallas. You have Sami Zayn versus Samoa Joe, which was a number one contenders 2 out of 3 falls match, which was on NXT TV on February 17th of 2016. You have Finn Balor versus Samoa Joe, which was the NXT Championship Steel Cage match at NXT TakeOver The End of the Beginning, or the beginning of the end, whichever. You have DIY versus the Revival, which was a 2 out of 3 falls match for the tag team titles at NXT TakeOver Toronto. You have Bailey versus Nia Jax, which was on NXT TV on July 20th, 2016. You have Ty Dillinger versus Bobby Roode, which was at NXT TakeOver Toronto. You have Neville versus Finn Balor, which was on NXT TV March 2nd, 2016. You have Shinsuke Nakamura versus Samoa Joe for the NXT Championship at NXT TakeOver Toronto. And finally, American Alpha versus Revival, which was a 2 out of 3 falls match for the tag team titles on NXT TV July 6, 2016. Now, to be honest with you, this was pretty time consuming to really nail down.
Hey.
I can tell you right now that Finn Balor and versus Shinsuke Nakamura was really, really great. The NXT TV show on July, that was a great match. That was a really, really great match. Asuka versus Mickie James, I didn't feel that went long enough. I didn't feel like that it went that long, to be honest with you. And American Alpha versus Revival at Takeover The End was really great. Sami Zayn versus Shinsuke Nakamura. This one was very awesome. Like, this was one of the ones that I was considering picking, because this was an excellent match, and of course it was at NXT Takeover Dallas, which was the takeover that I picked for takeover of the year. Um, Bailey versus Asuka, the one at NXT Takeover Dallas, was another excellent match. Um, Sami Zayn versus Samoa Joe, the 2 out of 3 falls match, was really good. Of course, Finn Balor and Samoa Joe at Takeover the end, the steel cage match was a really good match. That was a really good match. Um, DIY versus Revival, the 2 out of 3 falls match for the tag team titles, which was the NXT Takeover Toronto, where DIY first won the tag team titles. Bailey versus Nia Jax was really good. I felt like that could have gone either way, so it was kind of unpredictable. Ty Dillinger versus Bobby Roode at Takeover Toronto. It's interesting that this match was on here because Ty Dillinger didn't get any nominations for any other categories except Match of the Year. So I was kind of surprised about that. You have Neville versus Finn Balor, which was a great match. Of course, Neville's former NXT champion, and Neville was a former longest reigning NXT champion until Finn Balor surpassed him. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Samoa Joe, the championship match at NXT Takeover Toronto, was really good as well. And of course, American Alpha versus the Revival, NXT TV 2 out of 3 falls match for the tag team titles. To be honest, because of the length of the match and just really the way that it finished and just overall how the match went, just with the creativity and a lot of things that happened, my pick for NXT Match of the Year went to DIY versus the Revival, the 2 out of 3 falls NXT tag team match at NXT TakeOver Toronto. That is my pick for Match of the Year. I know it wasn't on my favorite takeover of the year, but still, that match was excellent the entire way through. And I was really hoping the Asuka versus Mickey match could have been a potential winner, but just honestly, I don't think it was long enough. I don't think it was that long, and a lot more could have been done in that match. But there you have it. Those are my votes for the different categories of the NXT Year End Awards of 2016. Like this video, comment on this video, share with me your picks as well, and also be sure to check in on the WWE website to, of course, cast in how you can cast in your votes. You have to tweet them. You tweet them on Twitter, and that'll show you how to do that. And apparently the winners will be announced as part of the NXT TakeOver San Antonio pre-show, which is on January 28th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Pacific Time. So definitely looking forward to that NXT TakeOver show. And yeah, looking forward to seeing who they announce as the winners, as well as that takeover. Alrighty. Thank y'all so much for watching. This is Blitzball Champ signing off. God bless. Take care.